Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. We're on Xbox Series X. The game is running an interesting way. And of course we have the ever classic and totally well-loved Kevin Spacey in the top left corner there. Yeah, that guy totally is just a great individual. Definitely well loved. Anyways, moving past that, the game does have a dynamic scaler here on the platforms. We're actually getting a full HD image that's also being boosted a little bit with the power of the Xbox Series X, obviously. You're also getting auto HDR, which adds for a nice little picture quality boost. And it's running at 60 FPS and very fluidly hitting that mark the whole way through, which is fantastic. Anyways, yeah, we're going to show off a bit of the campaign, then we're going to show off some of the zombies, and then we're going to finish with the multiplayer, showing off each of the different areas of the game, so you can see what it's looking like in action. And yeah, this was kind of really pushing the boundaries when it came to making Call of Duty less and less about being, boots on the ground and getting more and more futuristic with each entry. And this one was really neat because this was, I think, the first, at the time, truly next-gen leap for the Call of Duty series in regards to, the visual quality, the fidelity improvements. It was actually quite a big deal at the time because it definitely changed, not only the look of the games, but also the fidelity of the character models and design and style and everything like that. It was actually quite a big shift, and it still holds up quite nicely today when you look at the character models and the way the game feels and how it looks. It definitely is, quite an upgrade over the first effort, which was Ghosts at the time, right? And I think that's sort of an interesting thing to consider. Now, I wasn't huge on the super futuristic thing, but yeah, it had a neat campaign. I did actually like the story here and stuff like that. I actually thought it was interestingly well done. And that Spacey guy definitely plays an interesting and definitely convincing villain. You'd be surprised, but yeah, no, he's great at being the bad guy. That's for sure. But yeah, it's just a very interesting and different sort of take on the series, with the missions really being about some sort of mega corporation deciding to step in and get the job done where regular traditional infantry wouldn't be able to do so. So I think it kind of plays around with that concept quite well in regards to the idea of like a military group that's not necessarily government run, being basically the huge kind of war, not monger, but like running group in the world. So I think that idea is kind of interesting. Sorry, I'm having a hard time seeing through the wall here. I'm supposed to get one of these guys. There we go. My bad. Hostages were killed. I was not fast there. I was having a hard time. Alright, let's see what we're dealing with here. So that looks to be a bad guy. That's a bad guy. And I'm having a hard time locking on our last bad guy over there. There we go. We got it done. That was weird. I don't know why I was having so many issues getting that one kind of rolling there. There's something about the dots on the screen just like really were hard on the eyes for some reason. I don't get that. Clearly ran through it on the last gen, but is what it is. But yeah, this is kind of just an interesting situation. Oh, I have to rescue. No one else could have done this. Good thing I was here. Big hero of the day. That's what it is. This guy, me, the nameless individual that's thrown into the action. But yeah, I also really kind of liked sort of the look of the characters in this one. I found it really interesting, just that futuristic style. But I don't quite like what the Exos specifically did to regular gameplay within the series. It just felt like a big change-up, like too much of a change-up, and it got tiring pretty quickly. Another message from our golden leader. No, looks like it's just a vehicle. What's up, guys? But yeah, this is kind of the campaign. It's just got clear, bright visuals, really neat aesthetics, a futuristic world that definitely has some cool moments to it. Oh yes, and the whole traffic situation was kind of funny. Getting smashed by vehicles here. Oh no, what's going on? We've got rocket guys. Oh no. What will we do? Is that it? Oh. It did definitely lead to some interesting combat throughout the experience. And the levels were, again, mostly linear at this point when it came to Call of Duty titles, so that's carried forward in this one as well. Kind of very much moving through these set combative scenes. I thought I was getting shot in the back. Are you guys actually killing anyone? Activate my shield. Who's got the time? But still, it's a very clean and clear looking game, which I think is surprising. They did a pretty good job on this one, I gotta say. It still holds up decently well, even though it's not quite at the visual fidelity levels that some of the later ones reach, which I think is interesting. But it is certainly a fluid experience. I gotta hand it to them. That is surprising for sure. I wanted to get to the part where you're running through the weird traffic, because I always find that one absolutely hilarious. Getting, like, run over by a car. Ow. It's a little annoying. You get the slight push of the Exo there. And I think with that, we're going to switch over to the zombies and then the multiplayer at this point, so we can show those off. And I hope this was a decent enough look at what the campaign was. So this is the Exo Zombies. I guess there's also a Exo Survival. I had no idea about that one. I accidentally went to that menu. That's sort of funny. But yeah, this is with the zombies. And I remember playing a fair bit of this in comparison to the rest of the modes in the game. I don't think I was ever necessarily as big of a fan of it as I was the other zombie options that are available within the games. Still, I kind of really liked the cast. I thought they had a really stellar group of individuals here. And of course, it was just another team's take on the whole, you know, zombie type of thing, right? Because every Call of Duty at this point needed to have a zombies mode. That was just the way it was done. And this one, you know, did its thing, but with the whole movement system and stuff like that. I still don't necessarily think it was as enticing as it necessarily could have been. Oh, we've got insta-kill on. I don't know why I'm shooting them like that. Still, story-wise, I guess it was kind of neat. I did sort of like that it could be more just straight-up survival-based. I kind of like surviving in zombie games as opposed to necessarily doing convoluted tasks and goals. But, yeah, it's kind of very interesting. And then also, you know, you got, like, the whole, I guess you could say, mystery box type thing too, but it's more like a 3D printer, which I thought was kind of funny. So, and you can also do like crazy amounts of, I guess you could say, weapon upgrading and stuff in this from what I remember. Oh, that's absolutely lovely. Of course, when I go to use the 3D printer, it breaks, and you have to use a different 3D printer somewhere. That's hilarious. Is that going to be like a big issue in the future instead of like fax machines breaking down? It's like the 3D printer's not working again. Oh, that's kind of funny, but yeah, definitely an interesting entry in the series for zombies, because it's usually very high-tech sorts of things, you know, in regards to the levels and stuff. I think there's like one on a ship in that. I think I like the ship one decently well. But yeah, it's kind of like a weird movement system. I think that's the biggest thing with the Exos that I thought was strange. Oh yeah, and then the dogs, and you kind of just like hop around them. Yeah, that might have been the biggest weird thing for me about this entry in the series, was just like how you move, really. It's better, I suppose, than the weird kind of half measure bouncing upwards in the air and going onto walls and stuff, but I don't know if I necessarily love it either, which is weird, but you know, it is what it is. It's kind of flying around. It's hilarious. But yeah, interesting. I'm surprised the dogs are actually getting these guys. I would think they'd be able to handle this better. And of course, you know, it's a cooperative experience. You're working together. You could play it alone if you want. And yeah, it's got different perks, or well, I guess more like suit upgrades and power-ups and stuff. You know, very much your typical zombies, but they've just, you know, adjusted it to deal with the particular movement and the style of gameplay that's present here. But it feels basically the same as it does in other Call of Duty zombie games, which is fine. I mean, it is what it is. This level, I don't know if I like it at this point. Like, it's interesting because it's, you know, the flow of it. But it's not necessarily very large. Definitely. It's neat to revisit all these zombie games, because I've just been whipping through all of the Call of Duty games in kind of a row. So you really see a sense of, like, change in progression, really, between them. especially with the, I guess you could say, the rotation of which I've been doing them. I'm almost working backwards, I suppose. It's very neat. Yeah, you get the tough suit, and of course the cast is really cool. You know, you got like Malkovich here and stuff. It's pretty awesome, especially the different situations they find themselves in. I think they did a good job in regards to getting that cast going there. Oh yeah, and then you can do these things too. They're kind of fun. Is anybody else want this? AI assault drone. That's kind of cool. A little bit of weird things in this one. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about the zombies in this. You just kind of rush around blasting things, and 3D printer malfunction? That hurts. Every time you go to 3D print something, and the 3D printer's broken again. How? Definitely interesting. Oh, what a nice room. But you know what, it is still pretty sharp of an experience, I gotta say. You know, like, just visually, it does actually look pretty cool, and I think the tech sort of looks nice with the little boost that it's been given. The game isn't, like, perfect around the edges, but, I mean, you get a really largely crisp, clean quality visual style. I sort of wish they would have actually went back and enhanced this, because we could have been getting, like, a really clean, you know, 4K image like we get in the later Call of Duty, so I think that's a little bit disappointing, I suppose. You know, just because I know that they could have pushed things further, but they just kind of let it go because it's time to see it go, which I suppose is a slight disappointment, not the end of the world. Sure, I'll get over it. And the big question is, you know, down the line, will this be really remembered? I don't really hear too many people talking about this one all these years later. So I don't know if people liked this entry or what they thought of it, but yeah, I just kind of remember weird zombies running around in suits and me having to deal with that and being like, ugh. So this is the multiplayer portion of the game. I had to throw in some bots because there's no one playing online right now. I don't know if that'll change, but at the current time, there's no one online, so we'll just have to do an epic large-scale bot catastrophe battle where I look really good, destroying all of the poor bots as they try to do their thing in Hardpoint. So anyways, the multiplayer really wasn't something I was hugely into in this one. I did cover all of like the DLC that released and stuff like that, and you know, it had some interesting map layouts that kind of took advantage of the, you know, the exosuits and everything like that, where you're flying around and hopping on buildings. I just really didn't like the style of it. Why do all the bots use shields? That is like so bizarre. Anyways, yeah, it's just kind of, I don't know how you would describe it. It's a strange sort of multiplayer, because while some maps effectively let you fly around, other ones are kind of like locked. I always remember this other snow map where it's kind of like facilities based and you could just kind of get on buildings and that, and some of it was locked. I don't know, that wasn't great. But yeah, it's really hard to dive into because I really wasn't huge on this one. This is where they kind of started to lose me a bit, and the direction of it was just kind of bizarre. What did he just do there? That was a powerful gun. But you know, they got lots of cool futuristic things and stuff like that, which I guess are kind of fun to unleash. And this map's kind of cool. It's like a ski resort sort of place thing. I don't know, it's kind of cool. Jeez, the bots are actually putting in a good battle here. I'm not even playing really the position, but yeah, the game has a lot of modes, obviously, a lot of different multiplayer options if you can find players. I'm sure during regular peak hours there's probably matches still of this one. I don't think it's totally dead. I'm just playing at a later hour. Still not too late though, but I remember not too long ago when I was checking this out on the 1X that there were people playing it. And I did see some online, but not enough to actually field a match. We were sitting there for quite a while, but luckily the game's got bots, which a lot of them don't actually have, so I think that's kind of a bonus. Yeah, I think the more recent CODs all support it, which is good, you know, because it makes playing the multiplayer still a little bit easier, which is nice. And it kind of gives the action a little bit of an edge, right? You know, just having some other players. Because some of the older ones I had to, like, basically play by myself, and
walk around where there was no one there, and I had to shoot at things that weren't there just to kind of make it feel intense. But yeah, at least with bots you get some kind of idea of how the actual multiplayer traditionally feels. Can't say I like that HUD blocker there, it kind of drives you crazy. But I don't really know how to describe the multiplayer in this one. It was weird, it was all over the place. I just really wasn't big on it. It had its moments, you know. It was different, I guess you could say that. It wasn't your traditional Call of Duty experience. It was definitely something a little bit different. I also liked the one game mode where it was kind of like a sporting game where you had to rush the ball back and forth. I remember that one being kind of cool, but I didn't like how you threw or shot out grenades, and wasn't huge on the weapons or how you moved around the map, but I'm sure there's some people that quite like this one, so, you know, good on you and stuff. It just wasn't necessarily for me in that regard, and yeah, it's weird coming back here and playing it and seeing that the bots are actually putting up a good battle as well, I think that's just because there's so many bots. I think it's like ground war amount of bots on like a smaller map that you wouldn't traditionally have that many players on. That's probably why it's so wild. Or maybe they're just able to battle back and give me a good challenge, which very well could be the case. And I think with that, we're going to switch over to another different multiplayer map so you can see a little bit of a switch with the action, which I can fortunately do because we're battling bots. So I don't know if I mentioned the loading yet, but it is a lot faster to kind of get into matches and have the campaign load up. Yeah, I don't know if other people have noticed this, but every time Call of Duty does like DLC levels for their games, they tend to do like really silly types of maps. Like this is what I'd consider to be a really silly sort of multiplayer match, because it's like I don't know how to describe it. It's like a weird sideshow motel area. I don't know, it's just really, really bizarre looking. It's kind of neat, I don't mind it, but yeah, it's definitely strange. How could you not shoot me there? Ow, Doc got me. What a riveting multiplayer name. Like, because these guys are totally real players, right? Totally not bots at all. Totally not. I mean, there was some cool customization in this one, I guess, for like, you can see the emblem stuff and that, so it's kind of nice, but it just kind of felt like a mismatched Call of Duty where they're like, we're trying to capitalize on the futuristic element, but, you know, it didn't necessarily work, I guess, in the long run. I'm really curious what people think about this game all these years later. Because I remember it being, like, it was good, right? It had a comprehensive selection of modes, and it had a campaign that was interesting. So, I mean, probably a great game in terms of how I would, like, rate something just in regards to, like, the quality and the quantity and the evolution of the visuals. But just, like, long-term, I don't know if it was really something where it's like, ah, yeah, I'd love to be playing this way into the future. I just don't think that was or is the case for this one, and it's always interesting to hear what other people have to say about that in regards to, like, you know, what the experience had to offer for them at that time and their memories and stuff. Because some people play different Call of Duty games more than others, and I'm getting absolutely blasted away by the bots. I don't know if I should just kind of stand somewhere and shoot. It's probably my, like, flying around like an idiot that's probably causing me to die so much. Because they just track you, whereas if you just stood somewhere, you could just probably get a good line of fire going and annihilate them. But yeah, very interesting. Is there like a bad guy down there? Very different map layout, this one. I do kind of dig it, though. Oof. Slightly, well, they're pretty futuristic weapons and stuff like that. I guess we could still see war end up being more exo-based at some point, you know, getting like weird suits. I don't know, we'll have to really wait and see what time does for conflicts and that, because getting a suit on would definitely improve your ability to battle, I suppose. Oh jeez, is that like a giant mech thing? I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to kill beside him. Interesting. I did like the previous map, though. I think the whole snow vibe and stuff was like really, really cool. To see in action, it was nice to play on that one again. Considering how many years it's been. Absolutely wild doing like this nostalgia trip through the Call of Duty games, that's for sure. Is he doing like lying down, like proning and shooting and stuff? That's kind of nuts. Definitely did not expect that from
That character, that's for sure. Wait, is that the honeymoon suite? Oh, it's the creepy clown suite. Yeah, that's unsettling. It's like Eleanor Shellstruck's house from, you know, The Good Place. If you watch that, you'll know what I'm talking about without me even having to say what it is, but it's a reference to a really great show, seriously. What an amazingly well done and edited experience that was. Anyways, to get back on task, I guess we're also going to fit in the survival mode, at least a little bit of it, because I totally forgot that it was even a thing in this one, so we'll switch over to that at this point. So this is the survival mode. You're basically trying to survive waves of enemies and stuff. It's kind of a play on zombies and, well, regular survival from the other Call of Duty games, because I guess some of them feature the survival mode if you're not familiar with it. It's interesting. I mean, it's an extra thing you can do. You're supposed to do it in co-op play, but there wasn't anybody online, so I'm just playing it by myself, which is fine, I guess. Trying to survive waves, eliminating enemies, getting better resources. Holy! That is crazy. I was not expecting that giant thing to appear there beside me and kill me. Huh. Yeah, that was definitely a shocker. And this is that map I was talking about earlier that I absolutely hate because it's, you know, it's terrible. Really, really is terrible. You get the upgrade points each round, you take out different opponents, you upgrade things, you blast stuff. You know, it's your typical survival experience. It's just interesting to see it be like a focus in the menu, just because I don't really think of too many Call of Duty games having a survival mode that's even really well played. Maybe because that's always exclusive to like PlayStation or something for whatever stupid reason. And then you don't see it until you're already playing a new Call of Duty game, which is funny. And you can double tap to ready up, but it's a little bit more fun when you're in a group, a little bit more action-packed, things get a little crazier. You know, it has its moments, and it has its reason for existing within the game, and I can see how some people would find it fun, but you're basically just, like, annihilating bots and stuff like that, and, yeah, it's neat, I guess. Just an extra thing to jump into and engage with, and have different exosuits. Anyways, that's basically Exo Survival, all I wanted to show off from it, because, again, not the hugest on what it has to offer. Oh, should we punch out this guy too? Yeah, cool.